If you're researching the 3DeVOK range, you've probably got a few questions. And to be honest, they're usually the same questions we get asked on calls and exhibitions, so you're not alone. In this video, we're going to answer some of the most common questions we hear about the 3DeVOK scanners. Let's jump straight in. Can the 3DeVOK scan dark, shiny, or reflective parts? The short answer is yes. However, the level of performance depends on which scanner you're using and how challenging the surface is. Starting with the 3DeVOK MQ, which is included in the Start bundle, the MQ can absolutely scan dark, shiny, reflective parts, but in many cases, you'll get the best results by applying scanning spray first. That's quite normal for scanners in this category and helps create a more consistent surface for the scanner to track and capture. Moving up to the 3DeVOK MT in the Professional bundle, things get much easier. The MT uses blue laser technology, which allows them to scan many dark and reflective surfaces with little or sometimes no scanning spray at all. Then we have the MT Gen 2 in the Elite bundle. This scanner is designed to handle the most demanding applications and challenging materials. Its advanced blue laser scanning modes allow it to capture dark, shiny, and reflective surfaces with minimal reliance on scanning spray. So, if you're regularly scanning metal parts, machine components, polished surfaces, or other difficult materials, we generally recommend looking at the MT or MT Gen 2. Does the 3DeVOK require targets or markers? Another question we get asked all the time is whether markers are required. The short answer is no. All 3DeVOK scanners support both marker-based and marker-free scanning workflows. That means you can choose whichever approach works best for the object you're scanning. For human body scanning, markers are not really required. The scanner can usually track the subject very effectively using natural features and geometry. For general scanning applications, many parts can also be scanned successfully without markers. However, there is one important thing worth mentioning. If your goal is to achieve the highest possible accuracy and scan quality, we generally recommend using markers where practical. Markers can improve tracking stability, reduce the risk of alignment issues, and help achieve the most consistent results. Ultimately, whether markers are required depends on the object being scanned and the level of accuracy you're aiming for. The good news is that all 3DeVOK scanners give you the flexibility to work either way. Is the 3DeVOK metrology grade? This is probably one of the most important questions we get asked. The simple answer is no. The 3DeVOK is not a metrology-grade scanner in the strict sense of the term. However, that's not necessarily a bad thing. The reality is that many users don't actually need a fully certified metrology-grade system. What they need is a scanner that's accurate, reliable, easy to use, and capable of producing excellent scan data for reverse engineering, product design, body scanning, and general engineering applications. That's exactly where the 3DeVOK range sits. For most users, it offers more than enough accuracy and consistency without the additional costs and complexity that often comes with dedicated metrology systems. Now, if your application requires fully traceable measurements and certified inspection workflows that meet recognized metrology standards, then a dedicated metrology-grade scanner would be the better option. If you're unsure where your application fits, feel free to get in touch and we'd be happy to discuss it with you. What computer specifications do I need? This is another question that comes up regularly. The good news is that you don't need a supercomputer to run a 3DeVOK scanner. The software runs on Windows 10 and Windows 11, and for the better performance, we recommend using a dedicated NVIDIA graphics card. As a minimum, we'd suggest an Intel Core processor, 32 gigabytes of RAM, on a Windows 10 64-bit. The specification will comfortably handle most scanning applications. However, if you're planning to scan larger objects, process bigger data sets, or simply want the best overall experience, we'd recommend stepping up to 64 gig of RAM. A higher specification machine will typically give you smoother scanning, better frame rates, faster processing, and a more responsive workflow overall. If you're buying a new laptop specifically for 3D scanning, we'd always recommend aiming closer to the recommended specification where possible. Hopefully that answers some of the most common questions we receive about the 3DeVOK range. If you're still defining which scanner is right for your application, remember that the best choice usually comes down to three things: what you're scanning, the level of accuracy you need, and what you want to do with the scan data afterwards. If you'd like advice on your specific application, feel free to get in touch with the team. We'll be happy to talk through your requirements and help you find the right solution. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.